I focus on the pain. I will make you hurt.
Yes, Sir Hairless here. Today we have Hurt by Johnny Cash. This was a members poll winner for which kind of standout performance or song to do a reaction to next. I've received many requests for this one, so it's been on my list for a while. The original song is by 9 Inch Nails. Now, I didn't know the song. I've just listened to it, and let's just say it's not a song that you listen to if you want to be cheered up. That's obviously not the point of the song. I did find it quite difficult as well. I don't know 9 Inch Nails and I don't know the reasoning, but because of the audio quality that they've done. I thought maybe my computer or my headphones were having some kind of technical problems, but every version that I've checked on Spotify and YouTube, yeah, they all sound like that. So that must just be how the song is. Very interesting. When I was doing my research, I also saw a comment on Reddit by someone saying that it's tough to understand the song without hearing it as the finale, as part of the whole album that precedes it. So this cover by Johnny Cash, 269 million views on YouTube at the time of recording. It was released 1 year before he died, so very close to the end of his life. Here are the lyrics. If you don't already know them, please do have a read. They can definitely have a different meaning coming from the perspective of someone who's towards the end of their life, when they don't have that much more time left to make any sort of changes compared to someone at the beginning or more towards the start of their life. Alright, let's get straight into it.
I hurt myself today to see if I still feel. I focus on the pain, the only thing that's real. The needle tears a hole, the old familiar sting. Try to kill it all away, but I remember everything. What have I become?
Nice little piano chords there coming in on the offbeats. This is the part in the original where it kind of changes, and it looks to have done here as well. So I'm going to pause. If this is your first time watching the channel, this is where we go back and analyze what we've heard so far. It also helps for copyright infringement reasons. So if you don't want to hear my thoughts and analysis, go to the timestamp here to carry on with the song. Alright, I have a few things I'd like to say about the opening, the very opening, the introduction. We get the guitar part, and this is what we hear. I'll try and get the guitar in frame. Then this bit here, we have these two notes, but if we hear it in the recording, that really stood out to me because we're hearing this, the two notes that I just played, but there's also this note in there. That creates this really nice scrunch. Now, I'm not really sure how possible that is on one guitar. So even though we do see Johnny sitting there with the guitar, we are hearing two guitars playing just for a bit of added harmonic depth. And I know someone's going to comment saying, no, we just see one guitar, so it has to be one guitar. Well, I mean, watch him here, watch his hand.
Myself today.
I think that's a really powerful image. His right hand is not moving, it's stopped. He's not playing the guitar. His left hand is really shaking. He's just staring out. It's, yeah, just quite a powerful image, I think. Alright, so back to the guitar introduction that opens up the song. The original song is in a different key. It's slightly higher, so Johnny Cash is performing it a tiny bit lower. He has a naturally deep voice anyway, so that's probably one reason, but also he's old here. He's so much older than his younger self, so it would be much more comfortable for him to sing a bit lower down. Let me hop over to the piano to show the two introductions, the original and Johnny Cash's, side by side. It's easier to visualize the relationships between the notes on the piano than it is on the guitar. I'll play the original song transposed into the same key that Johnny Cash is performing in, so the comparisons, similarities and or differences will be much easier to hear. Here is the Johnny Cash version. Here is the original. There are some obvious differences there, but I want to point out the first chord we hear. This introduction is arpeggiated, which means a chord is formed by playing one note at a time rather than all of them at the same time. The first chord we hear at the end of the first arpeggio in Johnny's version is this. Standard harmony, it sounds nice, there's no funky or strange notes anywhere. But in the original version, we get this. This is a tritone. The tritone, historically that's been known as the diabolus in musica, which means the devil in music. And that's because of how peculiar sounding it is. It's due to the frequencies of these two notes not working well together, this particular interval, compared to other intervals which would sound nicer. Tritone means three tones. One tone is every two notes. So, one tone, two tone, three tone. We also get this drastic jump, which is from here to here. That's a minor seventh, quite irregular sounding as well. So the original has these very obvious clear dissonances. Johnny's version isn't dissonant really. The biggest dissonance we get is that scrunch chord I showed earlier, which I think still sounds really nice and far more natural sounding than the dissonances we got in the original. Also, the original, like I said in the introduction, has this very sort of, I don't know, jarring, very, very pained sounding noise in the background. And also we go straight in with the lyrics. There's no instrumental introduction. Johnny gives us an intro on the guitar, kind of sets the scene, shows us what we could be expecting from a melodic and harmonic perspective. Alright, so on to his singing. I mean, fairly self-explanatory.
Hurt myself today to see if I still feel.
He's old, you can hear it in his voice. It doesn't have the strength of his younger self, which is to be expected given his age. So I think it would be wrong for anyone to criticise the vocals of this song. I don't know if people do or have, they probably haven't. And I'm sure we can all agree that this sound is part of what makes this song. From what I've heard so far, it contributes greatly to the emotion that's being conveyed. And when you combine it with this video, with these little clips that we're seeing, it's quite moving. Aging is natural, it's inescapable, it happens to everyone, no matter how much people try and defy it through Botox, plastic surgery, this kind of thing. I think it's nice that he released this song when he did, so far into his life, with a video as well. A very touching legacy to leave behind. And then the music kind of repeats through the verses until we get to where we paused. We do get one change, which is these piano chords that come in, quite subtle.
It's real.
There was one.
The needle tears a hole.
There, and they do blend in with the guitar chords quite nicely, I think. Alright, let's carry on from the bit where it seems to be changing from where we paused.
Become my sweetest friend. Everyone I know goes away in the end. And you could have it all. My empire of dirt, I will let you down. I will make you hurt.
Well, it's making my body shudder. Powerful.
You stay the hell away from me, you hear?
I wear this crown of thorns upon my liar's chair, full of broken thoughts I cannot repair. Beneath the stains of time, the feelings disappear. You are someone else. I am still right here. What?
Oh, some of these images. I think the poster of the old lady, I'm guessing, was that his mum? The house? Was that the house he grew up in? He's from Arkansas, right? And the line as well, you can have it all, with the clip of him on stage, and then my empire of dirt. Okay, second pause. Again, we'll just go over and analyse that middle section we've just heard. The standout thing for me, from where we carried on, is this repeated note that we hear.
What have I become?
In octaves in the piano.
One I know goes away.
And I think in the guitar as well. It's difficult to say because the guitar and the piano do blend really well. Either way, we get these repeated Gs. We'll also notice from that point of the change that this is where we start to hear chords for the first time consistently. It's a much fuller sound than the arpeggio figures we were hearing before. Rhythmically speaking as well, chords are simpler than arpeggios. So as these chords change, naturally the notes change. That's what makes the chords changes.
What have I become?
But the note that's being repeated all the time, this causes dissonances and intricacies within the harmony as the chords change. What this does is it makes these other chords non-standard. So let's go from where we get the change. I call it the change because there's clearly a change in feel.
Everything.
That first chord there is G. And that makes sense because the repeated note we're hearing is G. Interestingly though, this G chord comes as he finishes the phrase, just kind of as we move into the changed section. It's not at the start of the next section, at least in terms of the lyrics.
Everything.
There's the change.
What have I?
So then the first lyrics in this changed section is now a new chord. So I find that quite interesting in and of itself. We have this change clearly, but the lyrics don't really match up with it. Anyway, so the chords that we hear.
What have I become? My sweetest friend.
So we start off with G, and then we move to A minor, and then to F, and then to C, and then back to G to repeat. I won't go into too much detail here, but let's take a look at what these chords look like with those repeated Gs in them. G, they fit in fine. Here's your A minor, but with the G, a clash here turns it into a minor 7th chord, then the next chord, F, and then we have the G in there. Again, a clash if we bring all the notes close together. Look at that scrunch there. Then the chord of C, and the G fits in, and then the cycle repeats. So because of this, some of these chords, and in turn the chord progression, might not seem that obvious. So what does Johnny do? Well, we hear the root note of each chord played at the low end of the piano, which sounds like this. That's just the order of the chords, G, A, F, C.
What have I become? My sweetest friend.
This is just some confirmation. It's providing this deep, low, harmonic foundation underneath everything else that's going on above. And I really like the very subtle idea of growth as we're progressing. There was this guitar line, very, very, very faint. Quite hard to hear, but it stuck out to me. I think it adds a bit of motion, a bit of movement in an otherwise fairly rigid chordal structure. It's just these little lines that are sometimes added in here and there very, very subtly that really can just give that extra something to a song. Yeah, I love the video. I think it's always quite emotional when you see old videos or images of people reminiscing about them, their life. I bet Johnny seeing these was thinking, wow, where did the time go? Or maybe not. I don't know too much about him, but I bet he had a very interesting life. I saw the film Walk the Line, and I also did a bit of research into him for my reaction of Home Free's cover of Folsom Prison Blues. Otherwise though, yeah, don't know too much about him. Please comment down below your favourite facts about him that you think I'd find really interesting. So things were just growing a lot, this very, very gradual growth. I was thinking, is it going towards some kind of climax?
I will make you hurt.
But no, quite a seamless transition back into the musical idea we heard to start the song. So then, musically, things are very similar. There's not too much new material. There were, however, some added layers in there to kind of thicken up the texture for a bit of variety.
Repair beneath the stains of time.
There, that new idea, again around the notion of the repeated G, but it's one continuous tone.
Beneath,
which is a bit more dissonant than a repeated note because the continuous tone is ever present. Okay, let's carry on until the end. I think there's about just over a minute or so left.
I am still right here. What have I become? My sweetest friend. Everyone I know goes away in the end, and you could have it all. My empire of dirt, I will let you down. I will make you hurt. If I could start again, a million miles away, I would keep myself. I would find a way.
Wow, that was a minute. That went so quickly. And not much really happened. I mean, from a musical perspective, again, this idea of growth, it was getting quite loud there. Such nostalgia with the video clips they were showing. Someone's life, just like that quick. Right, so I do know.
What have I become?
That's June Carter Cash, and I think she comes again. Did they know Johnny was dying? Is that why they did this video? Alright, I just went away and fact checked that. So June passed away just before Johnny. She wanted him to keep recording. So in the final 4 months of his life, he recorded around 60 songs. Wow. The lyrics that he was singing, everyone goes away in the end. How pertinent and how true. Musically, again, there's nothing too new here for that final section. The video became more intense, definitely emotional. And like we saw before, again, this growth getting louder and louder.
A million miles away.
The repeated notes have now moved up the octave. Usually when we see growth in music, things do tend to kind of move up.
I would keep myself.
The guitar strumming now becoming much more of an important percussive role because we don't have a beat. The piano is often considered a percussion instrument as well as a string, but the guitar strumming is a different type of sound, especially on the metallic strings.
I would find a way.
And then a sudden ending. Poof, that's it. That's how quickly someone can leave this earth after everything they've done. Their whole life lived, growing throughout their life, climaxing ultimately in death. It's weird what songs make you think about, isn't it? Anyway, that last note of his.
Away.
It's not certain. To me, it sounds like he's singing an A, and the chord we hear is G. So he's singing the second note. Let me do it up an octave so it's a bit easier to hear. And that's the supertonic note number 2, ending this song on one final dissonance. Yeah, that's definitely one to tug on the heartstrings a bit. I completely concede that I don't know anywhere near as much about Johnny Cash as probably most people do, especially watching this video. But even so, it's still emotional. I felt very nostalgic. Personally, I do prefer this song to the original, but granted, I have not heard the whole album, at the end of which comes the original song. It is a simple song. We get a lot of repeated ideas musically. There's nothing too crazy in there. As we saw in Johnny Cash's arrangement, he's removed some of the harshest of the dissonances that are a bit peculiar, but he's still kept in some much softer, nicer sounding ones. Nice song overall, and I can see why I received so many recommendations for it. Well, let's leave that one there. Please do comment down below other songs you'd like me to do videos on. And as always, thank you very much for watching. Would appreciate a like and subscribe. If you enjoy my content, would like to support me, please do so by joining the Patreon linked on the screen now. And I will see you next time.